Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Sanjay Kumar Chamoli from Department of Physics and Astrophysics, University of Delhi. Today we are going to discuss about the module Nuclear Models Part 3 from paper Nuclear and Particle Physics. After studying this module, you should be able to understand number 1, the applications of liquid drop model. Number 2, knowledge of conditions for the stability of nuclei. Number 3, the conditions for various modes of beta decay. Liquid drop model applications. Two conclusions for even a nuclei. So in this slide, basically a picture is shown on the right hand side where two parabolas are being plotted. These parabola, and in these two parabolas the various nuclei are marked, and down the line from top to bottom in the parabola actually it shows the decay of the nuclei. On the x-axis we have the Z number, on the y-axis we have the energy or the mass. So here this picture is for even a nuclei. Now for even a nuclei, as we know that we can have two possibilities. Either the nucleus will have even number of protons and even number of neutrons, or the nucleus can have odd number of protons and odd number of neutrons. That is why you see two curves in this picture. One curve corresponding to odd Z and odd N, another curve corresponding to even Z, even N. The curve corresponding to even Z, even N is lower in energy or the down one, whereas the curve corresponding to odd Z and odd N is basically the upper one. Now from the picture, basically, or we can see that so far whatever experimental observations are there, we can draw two conclusions for even a nuclei. Number 1, there is no stable odd nucleus. What does that mean? That the change of mass with Z makes two parabola narrower and steeper sides. So because of that, you can see that even at the bottom of the upper parabola, the nucleus is decaying via two different modes to the nuclei on the bottom of the lower parabola. So it shows that there is no stable nucleus in the upper parabola for odd Z, odd N nuclei. The change of mass with Z makes two parabola narrower and with the steeper side. But there are some exceptions, means there are some stable odd isotopes, odd nuclei, but they are very light nuclei. For example, the deuteron, lithium-6, 10 beryllium, 10 boron and 14 nitrogen. So these are the 4 odd nuclei which are stable. Second thing which we observe among the nuclei is that many even nuclei can have more than one stable isobar. Liquid drop model applications. Now in this slide we are going to discuss the application of liquid drop model to more areas. So far we have discussed the applications in terms of deciding the stability of the nucleus, that which are stable nuclei and what are the conditions required for any nucleus to be stable. So all that thing we have discussed. So here there is another domain where we can apply the liquid drop model. It is in terms of free nucleon decays. A free neutron undergoes beta decay with a mean life of 898 seconds, and in this decay the Q value of the decay is given by Mn minus mp plus me c square, and it comes out to be around 0.782 MeV, which is greater than 0. So in the free neutron decay, we have seen few things, or we know few things, that first of all, then a free neutron decays. It is not a stable particle. Second thing, we know that it decays with a mean life of 898 seconds. In the neutron decay, a neutron gets converted into proton with the emission of a beta particle and an antineutrino. The Q value of this decay is greater than 0, which indicates that this neutron decay is energetically possible because the Q value is positive. So it means this kind of decay is basically favored. Liquid drop model, stability of the nucleus. So we continue our discussion about the stability of nucleons. So in the previous slide we discussed the nature of neutron. Here in this slide we are going to discuss the nature of proton, that whether it decays or not. Now for proton, if the proton has to decay, it decays into neutron with the emission of a positron and a neutrino. The Q value for this decay is minus 1.293 MeV, which is less than 0. Less than 0 means it is energetically impossible, since Q beta is less than 0. So what does that mean? It means that a free proton does not decay at all. So free proton does not decay means the proton is a stable particle. It does not decay into neutron if it is in the free state. In the nuclear volume, when it is surrounded by many other nucleons, it decays. But if we have an isolated proton, it does not decay at all. It is a stable particle. Why it does not decay? Because of the energy requirement. Since Q value in the decay of proton is negative, so it means we need to supply energy from external means to make the decay of proton possible. So this is good, as stability of protons is must for the existence of universe. So this we have seen that in the universe, the first nucleus which was there was the hydrogen, which is nothing but a proton. Liquid drop model, stability of nucleus. We continue our discussion about the stability of nucleons and how the liquid drop model helps us in understanding the stability of various kinds of nucleons. Up to the previous slide, we have discussed the stability of or the decay of protons and neutrons. Now in this slide, we are going to discuss the decay of electron or the capture of electron. Electron capture in hydrogen atom. In the case of electron capture, Q beta comes out to be again negative, that is less than 0. So electron capture of proton is energetically impossible. It means if we have a lone proton, it does not capture the electron and get converted into neutron. This is not possible. So it simply means that hydrogen nucleus alone can exist and survive. In case of hydrogen, we know that in the nucleus we have a proton, and in the orbit around it we have one electron. So since the electron capture is not possible by proton, so we can say that our hydrogen survives. Liquid drop model, stability of nucleus. Now in this slide, we basically look at what are the conditions in beta decay in terms of nuclear mass. Now as we know that beta decay is of three types: beta negative decay, beta positive decay, and electron capture. If we write the mass equation corresponding to these three beta decay, then we have the condition for beta minus as equal to ZA is getting converted into Z plus 1A, plus electron plus antineutrino, and the Q value corresponding to this is mass of Za minus mass of Z plus 1a minus me, which is the mass of the electron, and the whole term multiplied by c square, which is greater than 0. Similarly, in case of beta plus, we can see that Q beta is equal to mza minus mz minus 1a minus me whole thing multiplied by c square, which is greater than 0. And for electron capture also, Q electron capture is equal to mass of Za minus mass of Z minus 1a plus me whole thing multiplied by c square, which is greater than 0. So it means if the decay happens, the excess energy is shared as kinetic energy among the products to conserve linear momentum. Liquid drop model, fission. So we continue our discussion about the applications of liquid drop model. So far we have discussed the applications of liquid drop model in understanding the stability of nucleons. Now in this slide we want to study the application of liquid drop model in the understanding of fission. Now fission is the result of a competition between the Coulomb and the surface tension. Fission is nothing but a process in which a heavy nucleus breaks into two lighter nuclei with the emission of energy. Now according to Bohr, classically fission is nothing but fission happens because of a competition between the Coulomb and the surface tension. Now here in the adjoining picture we see that the energy is plotted, energy of the nucleus is plotted as a function of distance from the center. Now three different curves are given. These three different curves are basically for different values of energy. The upper curve, which shows the positive value of energy, is corresponding to 130 MeV, which is basically showing the surface term or surface energy term. Second curve, which basically indicates positive energy up to certain value, a certain distance, and then negative values after that indicates the total energy of the nucleus, which is minus 170 MeV, and the third and the lowermost curve, which shows the negative energy in the nucleus, which is the Coulombic contribution or Coulombic energy, is minus 300. So we can say that the total energy, if we remember the binding energy curve, in the binding energy curve, three important contributions are from volume term, surface term, and Coulombic term. So if we see what is the nature and contribution of Coulomb and surface terms, then we can say that the energy of the nucleus, the total energy of the nucleus, is the sum of Coulomb and surface energy terms. So total energy comes out to be around negative, that is minus 170 MeV, the sum of surface and Coulomb energy term. So at the scission point, so here on the bottom of this picture, the various shapes of the nucleus corresponding to various energies of surface, Coulomb, and total are given. So in the beginning the nucleus was big but almost spherical, then it becomes, initially the nucleus was parallel, then it becomes oblate, then it becomes dumbbell shape, then it partially at the scission point it basically turns into two ball shape but joining, and once it has crossed that value or crossed that energy value, then basically two clear nuclei are seen. So as a function of energy or as a function of distance between as a function of energy, we can see the changing behavior of nucleus. So as fission is the competition, result of the competition between the Coulomb and the surface tension terms, we can find the factor x, which is equal to EC, that is Coulombic term, 0 upon 2 ES 0 is equal to Z square by A over Z square by A critical. Liquid drop model, fission. So we continue our discussion about the fission and the ability of liquid drop model to explain the process. How much energy is released in the nuclear fission, that also can be computed based upon the liquid drop model. Let nucleus ZA in fission splits into two lighter nuclei Z1A1 and Z2A2. From liquid drop model, ignoring the asymmetry energy and pairing energy term, ER is equal to C1 A1 plus A2 minus A. Volume energy is basically cancelled because the volume remains conserved. So A was the initial nucleus, A1 and A2 are the mass number of two lighter nuclei. So because of the volume conservation, the volume terms become, even after fission also, if we compare the volume, then the volume energies basically cancel. Then minus C2 A1 to the power 2 by 3 plus A to the power 2 by 3 minus A to the power 2 by 3. But the surface terms will be different because the surface energy of two nuclei produced in the fission process will be different than the surface energy of the single big nucleus. Also, the Coulombic energy terms will be different. Minus C3 Z1 square upon A1 to the power 1 by 3 plus Z2 square upon A to the power 1 by 3 minus Z square upon A to the power 1 by 3. So, since in the two cases, that is the Coulombic energy in the big nucleus is different than the Coulombic energy of the two lighter nuclei. Since the Coulombic energy terms are different, so they contribute in the total energy. So there is a competition between surface and Coulomb energies. Now this expression clearly indicates or clearly answers us the question why volume energy was not considered. Because in the Bethe-Weizsäcker mass formula, if we remember it correctly, the first three important terms were volume energy, surface energy and Coulomb energy. But in the fission process, we can see that because the nuclear volume is conserved, so the volume terms basically in the fission process cancels out, and we have two terms like surface terms and Coulomb energy terms which are in competition and result in the fission process. Now liquid drop model fission. So this is another application of liquid drop model by which we can basically understand the fission process. Now in this slide basically the fission process is described in terms of pictures and also in terms of various kind of shapes that it assumes and what is actually happening. The top sphere shows the spherical shape of the nucleus. In this case, least surface energy, greatest Coulombic energy. Then there is the oval shape, which is oval prolet spheroid, which represent oval prolet spheroid. In this situation, there is more surface energy and less Coulomb energy. Then during the fission process, the third stage comes when it is more or less like a dumbbell with the scission point in between. In this case, the Coulomb energy wins over surface energy. And finally, in the last one, you can see that two independent small spheres, so two nuclei fission. So in this case, finally the fission happens. Up to the point when the ER is negative, no fission can happen. But as the total energy, which is ER of the nucleus, changes to positive value, then ER becomes energetically possible. If A1 is equal to A2 is equal to A by 2, then this happens when Z square by A is around 0.7 C2 by C1. So under the condition when the big nucleus is broken into two lighter nuclei of equal mass, then Z square by A is around 0.7 C2 by C3. But fission doesn't happen at this value due to Coulombic barrier. So at this point basically we can say that our fission has not happened because there is Coulombic repulsion. Substituting values of C1 and C2 and setting Z around A by 2 shows that as per the liquid drop model, the nuclei heavier than A around 72 are unstable against fission. So if we substitute the values of C1 and C2 and put Z is around A by 2, we come across the situation which tells us that for nuclei having mass greater than 70, they are unstable against fission. It means they are in those nuclei the fission can happen. Liquid drop model, fission. We are still continuing our discussion about the fission. Now we want to understand that why does fission only start for heavier nuclei, that is for nuclei with A around greater than 240. Now one of the reasons for this to happen is the Coulomb barrier, because we have understood from our discussion in the previous slides that fission is the result of competition between the Coulombic and surface energy terms. So nucleus will only fission spontaneously if separation energy is near the top of Coulomb barrier, which happens only when Z square by A is around 2.1 C2 by C3. So here in the adjoining picture, we have 4 graphs which have been plotted for different values of Z square by A. In the first case, Z square by A is very much less than 0.7 C2 by C3, which is the condition, or under this scenario we can see that our big nucleus is stable against fission. It means fission cannot happen. In the second scenario, Z square by A is around 2.1 C2 by C3. In this case, the separation energy is close to the top of Coulomb barrier. So these nuclei are unstable against fission. It means there are very many chances that the fission will happen. In the third scenario, Z square by A is greater than around 0.7 C2 by C3. Again here we can find the different nature of the curve and the conclusion that unstable against fission but can't penetrate in barrier. In the fourth situation, Z square by A is greater than 2.1 C1 by C2. So this is the situation in which fission happens spontaneously. So students, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. As we have said, or as we have seen, that a lot of concepts have been discussed in this module. So what ultimately we have got to learn out of these concepts is the following. Number one, model could fit good to less than 1%. The average binding energy per nucleon curve well. Second thing what we have learned is Coulomb term calculations agrees well with the experimental values. Third thing which we have understood is explain the value of stability well. Means the liquid drop model explains the value of stability well. Also, the liquid drop model explains the decay of various unstable nuclei via selected modes. Another important thing which we have learned in this module is that the liquid drop model explained the energetics of radioactive decay. And finally, the liquid drop model could explain the process of fission and fusion well.